We're going to talk about branding. Who doesn't love branding conversations? Who's a branding nerd? I can't see the chat. I don't know. Probably all of you. Okay, awesome. So let's jump in. So, employer branding is a hot topic. We know, we talk about it, we hear about it, we see people do it really, really badly. So, I'm going to talk to you about how to do it. I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad. You'll have to figure that out. But what I have done, we'll have some cautionary tales along the way. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. So, not picking on any particular social platform here. Just so we're clear, like y'all can substitute any platform you like for LinkedIn, but I do a lot of my content creation on LinkedIn, so kind of why I'm picking on it a little bit here. But what's up with this place? Why am I stuck with all these charlatans and vultures, right, Uncle Steve? What's going on with all that? There is a lot of noise. And so I know as a recruiter, I've been on LinkedIn. I'm going to show my age here. Been on LinkedIn since it was invented. It's actually a recruiter before the internet was a thing. So my best boys. But, hey, it's where a lot of us have to go hunt. I get it. It's a pretty fertile hunting ground, so a lot of us spend time there. We want to attract talent, obviously. We want to hopefully shine a light or bust a myth or two along the way. But how do we do it effectively, especially if you're employed? Especially like if you're a solo recruiter and you can just go like be yourself and be wild and you don't have to worry about who signs your paycheck. God bless you. That is not my life. I have an employer who does pay attention to what I talk about and what I do on social media. So very, very important that we pay attention to what's working and not working. And of course, how do we keep ourselves out of trouble? Learn from my mistakes, people. All right. So the most important thing, this is where I'm going to ask you to take some mental notes. If you've got a piece of paper and a pen, jot something down. Think about your why. Pause there for a moment. Why am I even doing this? Why do I have a LinkedIn profile? Why am I on social media? Why am I creating TikTok videos? Whatever it is, why am I doing all of this? Do we not have better hobbies? I've been working on a baby blanket for 6 months. This baby's going to be graduating high school by the time I'm done with it. I have hobbies, but yet I find myself on social media talking about work all the time. Why? My why? So glad you asked. This is my why. You don't have to read all this. The slide deck will be available to you if you're really curious. But this is a very quick sampling of some of the responses that I have received on social media from my content. Just from me, like, making a video, dropping it on YouTube, clarifying the misconception about this, that, or the other thing. So these are the kinds of things that people send me, and it warms my cold black recruiter heart. Like, it makes me go, wow, that wasn't wasted effort. Wow, that was actually like a good thing that I did for someone, or I created something that helped someone. And look, not all of these people came to work with me. I don't actually, none of these people took a job with my organization, as it turns out, when I was recruiting for Project Kuiper, but definitely had an impact just in the world. And so I really started creating this content and thinking about why I'm doing this, because I wanted to be the recruiter that I needed when I was early in my career, before I found mentors like all of these panelists and so many great people who are no doubt in the audience watching. When I didn't know what I didn't know, I was looking for someone that could kind of show me the way and help me understand what I was missing about job search and negotiation and performance reviews and all the things. So I started creating content to help shine that light and to help kind of show people, hey, this is how it works. And recruiters aren't bad people and we're not terrible. We're here to help. So it was based on all of that. So think about your why. And if you're willing to share, I will go look at the comments as soon as I can. Drop a why in the comments. Why would you even consider being on social media? Why would you even consider starting to create brand content? So drop a comment. Let's see what y'all have to say. I think we probably have a lot of similarities where that goes. So, second thing you got to think about, the brand awareness. right? This now goes into, so I know why I want to do it. I want 1 million followers and I want to be the main character. That's a perfectly valid why. I will not judge you if that's your why. For me, again, the why was, hey, I just want to like help people navigate. This shit's hard. Especially in this economy. Are you kidding? We don't have time for hacks and nonsense that doesn't work. Like show me what actually works. So that was my why. I can't just stop at the why. Now I got to think about, okay, well, how do I actually implement this now? What am I actually doing with this why? How am I turning this into content? So think about cadence. How often do I want to commit to certain things? What do I want people to take away from engaging with my profile, my content, my whatever I'm putting out there? And like, what's the hook, right? Like, what is even the point and purpose of this? What do I want someone to take away? I always ask this question every time I do a presentation or every time I speak at a conference, whatever. I always say, I want to make sure I'm leaving one thing, at least one thing that someone can do immediately on their recruiting desk to improve their processes, to either find relief from some sort of recruiting pain or to find some pleasure in their recruiting day to day. So what is that one thing? So again, my hook generally has been being a little goofy, being a little silly. You're going to see some examples of that, but also making sure that there's a follow-up and a follow-through. I cannot stand. There's two things I loathe on social media. One, I touched on it. I dropped a comment in Steve's presentation. If y'all put DM me for something, I'm going. I'm gonna be very unhappy. I hate that. That is like such an engagement, hacky, nonsensical. People have tried to convince me it's like some kind of an algorithmic thing. I don't care. I don't like it. Stop doing it. Send them the link, put the link in your comments, whatever. Anyway, I hate that. I also hate one-way communication that stays one way. If you are not engaging, if you are not responding, if you are not answering questions, don't bother. That is a credibility killer. If you're just like throwing stuff out there and then running off and not actually coming back and listening to your audience and engaging, you might as well not even bother because you're not going to get the results that you might like. So what do you want to be known for, Ames? Well, for me, I want to be known for silly props. So this is a smattering of some of my best work. And so for those that have followed me or seen my content a lot, you might recognize some of these, but I would do a prop post every week when I was a working recruiter. I've moved into a management role since, but when I was a working recruiter, I would do a prop post. And so I would take one of our open positions and I would craft a narrative around it, right? So just very quickly, I'll point out some of my favorites. The David Bowie homage there at the bottom middle. I was looking for a power engineer. I laced up my running shoes over in the top right corner there because I was looking for an ASIC engineer. Got my ASICs on. Yeah. Bottom right, looking for a plant manager. It's a really big plant. Need someone to come manage it. So I would just have fun with this. I would just like look around my house and find a weird, funny prop or costume. I have a costume closet that's out of control, but I just had fun with it, right? And it actually worked, y'all. I actually made hires through this. Sidebar, one of my favorite memories, and you may have heard me tell this story before if we've talked about branding in the past. One of my favorite memories, I was walking around my company's office once with my recruiting team. We were just like walking around doing a tour, talking to engineers and whatnot. Our VP yells my name across the room, across the hallway. Amy Millard. I'm, peeing my pants. I'm like, why does he know my name? This is terrifying. And he actually said, I don't get on LinkedIn much, but I do look at your post and you're funny. Please, somebody write that down. Someone document that this just happened. So even these goofy things, and again, I'm not telling you to go be goofy. I'm telling you find your own thing. But my thing happens to be like a little goofy, a little self-deprecating. It is noticed and it is appreciated. And I never thought I would say that. I was actually like, oh my gosh, am I in trouble? But the authenticity was so clear. My passion for recruiting for this organization and wanting to build the brand for this organization was so clear. And that's what this individual was reacting to. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, Amy put on antennas because she's looking for an antenna engineer. It was, wow, Amy's like actually being creative and caring about this business. And so that's what resonated with my leadership, which was awesome. All right. So, but here's the crowning achievement. Are y'all ready for this? This is my favorite thing ever. How many of us can claim we've made it to LinkedIn Lunatics? Been on there a couple times, but this is my favorite. So this was obviously a funny, play on multiple fandoms. My husband was in a lot of pain taking this picture, by the way. But it was funny, right? And so I kind of used it to like make a joke about like misalignment when it comes to recruiting and creating job descriptions and things like that. The comments on LinkedIn or on LinkedIn Lunatics on Reddit were all like, "Oh no, she gets a VIP pass. She's funny." I'm like, yes. Mission accomplished. So anyway, it was kind of fun, right? But you're going to kind of have those things and it's not going to resonate with everybody all the time. But the point is that you're consistent. You're true to your brand that you are building. You're being true to yourself, and there's tremendous value in that. So here's where we are going to dig in a little bit to kind of this like just one-way communication versus actual engagement. Older data, pulled this from a previous slide, but this to me tells the story. I post all the time, chronically online, posting almost every day typically, but look at my comments compared to my posts. That's where the engagement happens. That's where the brand building lives. The fact that I'm getting in there, not only on my own post, but my friends' post, other posts that I think are interesting or, spark an idea, whatever, like my commentary is massive percentage above the number of posts I create. That's why I have the following that I have. That's why hopefully I think Daniel invited me to do this conversation. So that's very important. Think about that as you go forward. Now, again, for those of you who are paid by a corporation, be careful. So the bottom line for those of us who are traditionally employed is we are subject to social media policies. We are subject to expectations of our organization or of people who are in charge of our employment. So I do reference our social media policy regularly. I'm cautious with some of the spicier conversations. I will actually back out of some conversations, especially now as a recruiting leader. But I do have my own mental rule. So if you know, you know. Would Amy say this in Andy's office? That's the AA rule of posting. And if the answer is yes, by golly, I'm going to go ahead and post that. If the answer is, ooh, maybe not, stays in drafts. Maybe I share it with a friend. All right. So here's the reality, though. You are not going to avoid trolls. It's not going to happen. And again, don't need to read the slide here. You'll be able to dig into this if you're interested when the slide decks are shared. But these are a couple of my favorite examples of people trying to get me fired. So that was super fun. Well, one person tried to get me fired. One person threatened me with bodily harm. So, no big deal. Just another day on the internet. But these are the kinds of things that you're going to kind of run into, right? And you'll see these from time to time. And I got to tell you, the best advice I have for you came from Miss Taylor Swift. I am obsessed with this quote here. This is a fact. I don't consider myself a Swiftie necessarily, but boy, did this one punch me in the face. I love this quote. Your energy, your time, your investment in your brand is with a purpose. And it is in order to find the people that you want to attract to your organization. It is in order to find the opportunities for yourself, for your colleagues, for your friends, for your neighbors, for your peers, right? This is all about creating that community and bringing in those hires and frankly, elevating your organization. That is a really cool side effect. So side note, I do want to mention my brand is independent from my company for a reason. One of the traps that many people fall into is they create a lot of company focused content. They're using their company logo, they're advertising their company roles, they're making it all about their organization. Friends, as much as I love my job, there are no guarantees I will have it tomorrow. My brand supports my organization. My organization benefits from my brand. It's my brand, and it goes with me if and when I find myself going somewhere else. So keep that in mind as well. All right. Final thought here, metrics and outcomes. You need to pay attention to what is working and what is not working. I experiment a lot with different things and how, what's resonating, what's getting the right attention. This picture, so there's a couple photos here. One is the actual performance. You can see over this 1 year span, it had 10,000 or I don't know, 10 million, whatever impressions. There's a big old spike there. So there's two things that I love about this graphic. One, you can see there's some pretty decent consistency, right? Those little peaks are probably those Tuesday posts where I would do my little propped action. But then there's this like one major spike, which was kind of fun. You will have to get the slide deck and click on that link if you'd like to see it. So it's kind of just a funny one that I did not think was going to get as much interest as it did. And then this other photo where I'm holding my laptop and pointing at a picture of myself. This is one of my favorite hiring stories. I had posted the picture with the hard hat, and I was looking for a tooling manager for my team, and it actually led to a hire. So a gentleman saw that post, thought it was hilarious, like actually laughed about it, looked up the company and was like, hey, I know somebody there, called his friend who happened to be the hiring manager for that role and was like, hey, I would actually be interested. I didn't know you were hiring, whatever the conversation was. So we ended up hiring him. So I did like a welcome post where I was like, hey, look how my nonsense brought this great leader to our organization. Aren't I clever? But anyway, so that was kind of a fun one. It was a very cool, like full circle moment for both of those leaders, and of course, little good advertisement for me and my brand building. So friends, I would encourage you to try it out. Please think about your why. Think about what you want to be known for. How do you get that message out? Do not forget to engage. Never feed the trolls. And hey, why don't you maybe send me your why? I'm really curious. Maybe we can work together on building some content for you and supporting each other. All right. Thank you, Daniel.